Bronson beckoned me next to him, moving his jacket out of the way and patting the crimson leather. Our nails almost touched as he leaned in close to shake my hand. "Heard a lot about you," he said by the way of greeting. "Malcolm says you are going to make all us Expassin famous." He grinned, the folds of skin under his chin trembling with the emotion. I wondered exactly how much Malcolm had told him. Certainly Bronson knew I was in Tokyo researching a book. He knew it had something to do with the community of displaced Americans who had made a home on the other side of the world. These expats, most of whom Ivy League slingers or equivalent young male, more than a little bit well-dyed, were a fascinating subject on their own, one that hadn't appeared in any popular work of literature I was aware of. But I doubted Bronson knew the real story I was setting out to tell. Too much intimate knowledge would be dangerous for Malcolm, professionally and possibly even physically. "I am going to do my best," I said, stretching out in the chair. "At very least, I am trying to give people a picture of what it's like to live the way you do." I'd been in Tokyo 3 days and already was starting to understand the basics of expat life. I'd barely made through the baggage claim that I had my name over the airport intercom system. A message in English telling me to head to Pick-up area outside. I had been met by 2 young men, most recent graduates of Harvard, who now work for Malcolm Hedge Fund. They had led me to a glossy black stretch limousine, which one of them had explained was Malcolm owned, flown over from the L.A. Instead of taking me to my hotel, the limo had driven us to the stadium 20 minutes outside Tokyo. Trying to make sense of things, I started a huge crowd gathered outside the stadium front gates, at least 1,000 Japanese teenagers dressed in hip-hop gear that seemed more appropriate for downtown New York. A concert, I was told. The American rapper Eminem. We had front row tickets and black stage pass, courtesy of one Malcolm many clients. By the time the concert ended, I was half deaf from the noise and had made a dozen few friends who didn't speak English beyond an absurd collection of street hip-hop lingo. I'd been plied with enough alcohol to douse a fraternity fire and had collected a handful of business cards from investment banking clients and assorted financial celebrities who either knew Malcolm, or wanted to introduce to Malcolm. I'd been awake for 24 straight hours, had eaten things I could never hope to identify, had spent an enormous amount of someone else's money, still had no idea where I was going to sleep. 3 days later, I was still in haze of sleeplessness, alcohol, carpal deficiency, as my body struggled to adjust to a place that seemed to be designed to confuse the senses.